Welcome to our discussion on bridging the divide in financial inclusion in Pakistan, specifically around the gendered challenges. You know, overall financial access has surged from 8% to 35% in just over a decade, but there's this big, glaring gap when it comes to women.
Right, it's crazy. Despite the digital boom with tools like mobile wallets and Rust, women seem to be left in the dust. How do you see that playing out in the data?
Well, the numbers don't lie. For instance, while 48% of men own mobile wallets, only 11% of women do. It's like, digital innovations are here to help, but for women, even the low barrier entry just isn't low enough.
Yeah, that disparity is huge, nearly a 40 percentage point gap. The report even shows that overall banking inclusion for women stands at just 14% compared to 56% for men. What do you think is really holding women back?
It's a tangled web. On one hand, you've got deeply rooted socio-cultural norms, patriarchal structures, restrictions on mobility, even the stigma of interacting with unfamiliar male agents. And then, there's the technological side. Lower mobile phone ownership and SIM registration rates for women.
Right, so it's like, even with digital finance versions of tap and go technology, the underlying cultural norms literally stop women from catching up. Isn't it just ironic?
Absolutely, it's a paradox. While digital services have removed logistical barriers like branch visits or lengthy paperwork, the real hurdles are cultural. For example, about 18% of women reported they don't use phones because their families don't allow it.
Yeah, that's such a harsh reality. And then there's the issue of financial literacy. Even if women get access without knowing how to manage finances or navigate digital platforms, that access is pretty superficial, right?
Yeah, exactly. Low formal education and limited financial literacy compound the problem. It's like, if you can't read the manual, even the best tool is useless. And for women, these educational gaps really limit their ability to engage meaningfully with financial products.
I'm curious, how much of this is tied to agent network dynamics? I read there's a severe gender imbalance among agents.
Spot on. Only 1 in 100 financial agents are women, meaning women are forced to deal with male agents most of the time. This creates discomfort and reinforces the societal limitations on female mobility and independence.
Right? So even when services are technically available, the environment isn't welcoming enough for women. It's like setting up a state-of-the-art gym, but not having female trainers or programs that address women's unique needs.
Exactly. And this disconnect isn't just social, it has severe economic consequences. When women aren't financially included, their ability to manage household finances, invest in education, or start a business is stifled. There's even an estimated missed market opportunity of over PKR 101 billion annually.
That's almost like leaving an entire treasure chest untouched. But what about the policy side? I mean, there are initiatives like the National Financial Inclusion Strategy and this Banking on Equality policy, right?
Right. The government has indeed introduced bold frameworks. The NFIS, for example, aims to bump financial inclusion to 75% and shrink the gender gap to 25% by 2028. Then there's the BOE policy that, among other things, targets a 20% female workforce in banks and sets up outreach for women-centric products.
Yeah, that sounds promising on paper, but is it translating on the ground? I mean, policies can sometimes look great until they run into real socio-cultural challenges.
I agree with you there. The report even critiques these policies as being largely provider-centric without adequately addressing the deep-seated norms that bar women from fully accessing these services. It's like pouring water into a cracked bucket. It just doesn't hold.
Right. And then there's the matter of legal and regulatory reforms. I recall the Companies Act got amended to remove unnecessary gender biases, but do you think these legal moves are enough?
They're a critical step, for sure. Removing the need to list a father or husband's name during company registration, for example, is important symbolic progress. But without simultaneous efforts to build female capacity and change societal attitudes, laws alone won't close the gap. It's like, fixing the car's engine without addressing the broken tires. All parts need attention.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what about innovative solutions in the financial sector? I heard about products tailored specifically for women, like HBL NISA and the UBL Uruj account.
Right, those are definitely exciting developments. They combine financial products with literacy workshops and, in some cases, even microfinance to empower women entrepreneurs. For example, Easy Paisa partnered with NGOs to boost rural women's access to digital payments.
Yeah, it's great to see private sector players stepping up. But do you think these isolated initiatives can scale up to overcome the broader ingrained barriers?
Well, that's the big challenge. Effective change will need a coordinated effort. Government policies, financial institutions, civil society, and international partners all working together. No single initiative can break centuries of socio-cultural norms on its own.
That really hits home. It seems like every layer, from technology access to cultural norms and education, needs a tailored solution. And if one falls short, the others can easily undermine the progress.
Exactly. Take digital literacy. Without it, even the simplest mobile wallet can seem intimidating. And then, even if a woman does sign up for a mobile wallet, she might never register her SIM in her own name because of family restrictions. It's all interconnected.
Yeah, I really appreciate how the analysis lays out these multi-layered barriers. It makes you wonder about the ripple effects of financial exclusion, like how it stifles not just individual empowerment, but also broader economic development.
Absolutely. When women are financially invisible, it affects household health, education, and ultimately, national development. The loss of potential revenue in the banking sector is just one tangible example.
And as you mentioned earlier, these financial challenges are directly linked to wider issues like poverty reduction and gender equality, which are core sustainable development goals.
Right? Right. And that's why the report is so vocal about a coordinated gender-intentional approach. It emphasizes tailored financial literacy programs, gender-specific product design, and increasing the representation of women both as customers and as financial agents.
But don't you think there's a risk of over-relying on digital solutions? In a society where not every woman can own a mobile phone, isn't that a potential pitfall?
That's a fair point. The data shows only 46% of women own mobile phones compared to 82% of men. So yes, digital strategies must be complemented with offline initiatives and agent network improvements that actually target and support women.
Yeah, it seems like the overall message is that while digital innovations have propelled financial inclusion for many, they inadvertently widen the gender gap if they don't account for sociocultural realities.
Exactly. It's a reminder that technology, no matter how advanced, cannot magically overturn deep-seated cultural barriers. It needs to be paired with systemic reforms and grassroots engagement.
And that's where the role of civil society becomes critical. Engaging communities, advocating for change, and even offering grassroots training programs to boost financial literacy.
Right? Organizations like the Hope Uplift Foundation and Orat Foundation are on the front lines, providing vocational training, financial literacy workshops, and even microfinance support. These efforts work to empower women at the ground level and challenge the norms that have excluded them for so long.
Yeah, it sounds like every stakeholder, be it government, financial institutions, or civil organizations, has a piece of the puzzle. But coordinating all that sounds like a monumental task.
It is monumental, but also absolutely necessary. The report stresses that real progress requires synergistic partnerships, each party addressing its part of the problem in unison. Think of it like an orchestra. If one section is off, the whole symphony suffers.
Well put. And as we push for financial inclusion, reducing this gender gap will undoubtedly have a cascading effect on poverty reduction, health, education, and overall national prosperity.
Exactly. Pakistan's potential for growth and equity is enormous if it manages to unlock the full economic empowerment of its women. Breaking these pervasive barriers could redefine the country's future, both socially and economically.
Yeah, this conversation really highlights not just the challenges, but also the huge opportunities that lie ahead. It's about creating an inclusive future where every segment of society can truly thrive. Thanks for diving into this with such clarity.
Thank you as well. Understanding these complex issues is the first step in paving the way toward a more equitable financial landscape in Pakistan.